What's going on, everybody? It's Wednesday. I genuinely look forward to Wednesdays at this point because I love taking the time to share some opinions, hear what you're interested in, and it's a lot of fun. It is really a lot of fun. And, you know, Mondays, I'm getting in the regular routine of asking a question to all of you, and that's a lot of fun hearing back from you. If you haven't watched Monday's video yet, check that out. I thought there were some really good responses to the best looking cards of all time. And then I ask at the end of it, my question for this coming week, this current week, and I've already started seeing some really awesome responses to that. But it's really, really fun to hear what you all are interested in and share my thoughts. And sometimes you guys say, I think you missed the mark. And sometimes you say, I agree with you. And I love hearing your feedback to my responses to your questions. So 5 more great questions. Actually, it's really 6 this week. So there were a couple of questions that were very similar that I put together that I'll give one response to. And so there are going to be 5 responses to 6 questions as we take a look at this week's questions. Now, again, there are always going to be some times that I don't get to a question that was asked. If you asked a question and I didn't include it in this week's episode, please ask it again in the comments down below. And if you have a question that you're curious on my input on my feedback, on my take on. And again, that doesn't make it the right answer. It doesn't mean it's right or wrong. It's just an opinion. And so if you have a question that you'd like my opinion on, down below, please, in the comments, just simply ask the question. And I will be happy to. I look forward to seeing those questions and responding to them. So again, in the comments down below, simply post your question. Let's take a look at our very first question, though, right now. Since I came back to the hobby 8 months ago, I've had horrible trouble pricing cards. The paper guides are nearly useless. I need to know what the best and easiest to use app or service I can use to easily appraise random cards quickly. Oh man, this is a good question. See, those of us who grew up collecting cards in the, 70s, 80s, 90s, especially the 80s and 90s, we look forward to the Beckett magazine. And, I had literally a subscription. It would show up in the mail. I was one of the first people that would get each month's Beckett. And that was the Bible of card prices. So what was something worth? We kind of all agreed that was the place to go. And things are so different now. They're different for a lot of reasons. One reason that they're different is because prices, especially of modern stuff, change so dramatically, so quickly. They'll go way up and way down so fast. And for me, that's one of the reasons that I shy away from some of the modern stuff a little bit. Now, that said, we need a place to find our pricing. And I'll be honest, for a long time, I would just go to eBay. I would just go to eBay listings, look at the most recently sold items, and use that for my comps. The problem with just going to eBay is now we might only see a snapshot of, and we can only look back so far with eBay. And so if it's kind of a rare card, if it's a T206 in a 4 grade from SGC, there may not even be one of those that sold of some of the cards over the last few months. So depending on the rarity of the card, the last, 2-3 months, which eBay will share with us, is not sufficient. The other problem that we find when we look at using eBay is it's just looking at eBay sales. And now eBay sells a lot of cards, but there are a lot of other auction sites that are continuing to become more and more relevant and more important as people are branching out because the eBay fees are so high. They're looking for alternatives. So things like PWCC has gotten very popular. Golden auctions are growing in popularity all the time. And so we need something that really scours all of these for us. Now, if you are just, want the basics and it's not super scientific to you, eBay probably, looking at the recent solds, not the listing price, but what things sold for, is probably okay. But personally, as you guys know by now, I am totally a data nerd. I love nerding out on data. I love looking at trends. I love looking at sales prices for a longer history. Another thing I love looking up is the different population reports. Looking at eBay or PSA's population reports and seeing when cards are going up. And so for me, it's best to get an app because these apps can pull data. There is some really good software out there that these apps utilize, and they do it for us. And let's be honest, without even thinking about it, we'll pay, $25 a month or whatever it is for Netflix. See, I don't even know what I pay for Netflix. Or we'll pay for Hulu, or we'll pay for Disney Plus. We'll pay for all these subscription services for watching movies and TV shows. But we love cards. We love cards, and we're like, no, I'm just going to use the free app. I'm just going to use the free app for my sports card collecting. Well, guess what? For me, cards are a big deal. I really enjoy it. This is like my thing, right? And if this is my thing, and I can easily spend $20 for Disney Plus, or I can spend $20 for Paramount or HBO Max or whatever all these subscription services are, why can't I spend $10 or $20 or $25 or whatever for a really good app? So finally, not that long ago, or fairly recently, I said, I'm going to look at all of the apps, and I want an app that I can geek out on data just like I can when it comes to, my stock portfolio, my stock investments. I want something really good and really sophisticated, not just something that's free and basic. So I went with Market Movers. I looked at all of them, and Card Ladder is very popular for a variety of reasons. Market Movers is very popular for a variety of reasons. I know some people use Alt. There are a few out there, but to me, Market Movers is the best one. And Market Movers is the one affiliated with Sports Card Investor, which is Jeff Wilson. Now, I continue to say that everything I've seen about Jeff Wilson is he seems like a really nice guy. The fault that because people like to kind of beat up on Jeff Wilson a little bit for some reason, and I don't really get it. See, the thing about Jeff Wilson is he takes a professional camera crew. He gives us interviews and access to, SGC behind the scenes, PSA behind the scenes, Golden and Probstein and all these guys. He gets us interviews and access to places we wouldn't get to go in a very professional way. The one knock on Jeff Wilson, and he'll admit it himself, is there's a learning curve with cards. And he set up the camera equipment and he started kind of showing and documenting his journey before he really got his feet under him. And so as a result, there's a lot of footage out there of him promoting certain players and certain cards and certain variations. And it's come back to look like, was that a good decision? But, to me, kudos to him for putting up content as he's learning. That's part of the process. He really has, with looking at his channel and looking at, the ups and the downs of the market, he's got a really cool documentary, basically, of him learning about cards and him making mistakes and him making some really good deals. So the hate on Jeff Wilson, I don't really get it. I think he's a pretty decent guy, and I have no reason to think otherwise. And I'll say this, he is a tech guy, and his tech team for market movers is really, really good. I mean, literally, Market Movers is the app that I use, and not just the app. Some of the things that you have access to on the Market Movers website is like second to none. It's literally like stock market data quality stuff for cards. And they continue to add to it and add to it and add to it. I think it's a really, really good app. So I want to take a look at a few features as to why that's the one I recommend. And again, why do I recommend that one? Well, because that's the one I use. Like, I don't want to tell you that Card Ladder is the one to get if I'm not using Card Ladder. I am using Market Movers. Are there things that Card Ladder has that are better than Market Movers? Maybe a couple of things, but as a whole, as a package, what you get with Market Movers, to me, is without a doubt the best one. And if we're going to spend all this money on our Netflix subscription, or we're going to spend all this money on our, Disney Plus subscription, why can't we spend $20 or whatever it is on our card data information system? Let me show you a couple of things that Market Movers does. And then when we come back, after I show you sort of what Market Movers does, I reached out to Market Movers and I said, Market Movers, here's the deal. I've got a huge following. Huge following. Look at me. I have a group of a huge following. Geez, no, I just got ahead of myself. I've got a group of people that are into vintage cards, and I've seen you do different promotions out there. I've seen you do some stuff where you give like a free trial, and you go on their website right now, and I think it's a 7-day free trial of Market Movers. I said, can you do something for the Midlife Cards community? And they said, yeah, I think we can. So let me show you what Market Movers does. And again, they're just like, I just reached out. I literally just emailed them, and they came back and they said, we're gonna hook up Midlife Cards people. Let's look at what it does. We'll come back. I'll tell you the deal that they have, that they're offering. There's a promo code and everything. So first off, why is Market Movers the best one? Let's take a look. So this is a look at their website, and you can see they are running the pricing of $10 a month for the first level, and you can try it for free for 7 days. And again, this is the website. So joining Market Movers gets you access to the website and access to the app. So let's take a look at the website. So first off, you can put your entire collection in here, and it will track the value of your collection and all of the cards. I haven't done that yet, but I plan to. Then you can go ahead and take a look at different indexes. So they have their Sports Card Investor Index, which I think tracks, it's 500 cards, and follows it sort of like, the Dow Jones or the S&P 500. And you can see what the overall market is doing. That's what that is right there. And then you can look up cards. And so let's just look up a 1980 Rickey Henderson rookie. And it pulls it up and it tracks it in all different companies. So this is a PSA 8. And you can see here over the last little bit of time, it has been fairly stable. And you can literally just kind of mouse over the different areas and see the different sales along the way. And I think this one's the last 30 days. And then you can change it and look at the whole past year. And again, it looks pretty stable. There's a kind of a spike and a couple of dips in there, but
mostly a stable card during this down market, which is kind of interesting. But you can actually see that by looking at the data. And I mean, there are so many tools here. This is the number of sales over the last year, is what this particular chart shows. And this, shows the price changes again. But there are a lot of tools, and we're just going to take a look at a couple of them. So when you go in here, another thing you can track, there are other things you can click on right here, and you can track. Like you can track the population report. So over the last year, this is the change in the pop report of the 1980 Rickey Henderson card. So it literally shows you the growth of the pop report. And again, I think the data for the pop report growth goes back a couple of years, 2 or 3 years. But then now it's following it like daily. And again, you can change it to just like 30 days, or you can change it to 90 days, or and look at the pop report by day and see the jumps. Now, usually there's going to be jumps weekly because it's weekly that they, usually release some of that information, or it's updated. Weekends, obviously, they're not updating pop reports and stuff. So there are some flat spots and then some jumps. And so again, you can do pop reports in here. You can do values in here. And again, this is if you were to add in your collection, which I'm going to do. I just haven't done it. I've had this app for a while, but I just haven't sat down and entered in all my cards. But that way you can see, hey, what's my whole collection worth? Has it gone up the last month or down the last month? And it tracks all the individual cards. And then again, you can look at, SGC prices, PSA prices, BGS. There's several of the big ones that you can track to see what the values are doing. And then there's also a tool where you can actually compare them. So if I were to take like a PSA 8 and compare it to, say, a PSA 9 of the Rickey Henderson, and then I run those two charts next to each other, you can see here on the chart, the line up above, this one, is what the PSA 9 values have been over the period of time. Again, I can choose 30 days or a year or 6 months or whatever. And then you compare it down below is the line for the PSA 8. So if you're curious, hey, how are the 8s doing compared to the 9s? You can compare them right there. Now, not all of these tools are available at all of the levels. So if you're interested in market movers, you have to make sure that you're choosing one that has a level that has the tools that you're looking for. So again, if I were to go back in here and look up the Rickey Henderson, it'll show you the recent sales. So there was a PWCC sale. There are obviously going to be some eBay sales. And what it does is it shows you over the last, long time. And the sales history is quite a while. There's an eBay one. Again, we had some PWCC ones. It'll show you what the sale price was, the date of the sale, the card itself. So it's really, really easy to see what cards are selling for instead of having to run all of these different searches. And then it shows you has links to eBay for the card that you're looking at. So here I just clicked on the eBay link and it pulled up all the Rickey Hendersons that are for sale in the 1980 tops. So you can find ones to buy. Now, if I were to look on the app, so here I pull open the app and you can just literally from the app take a scan of a card. Now, this is a scan of a picture of a card on my computer, and it still pulls it up and it gets you all that same information. So in the question it asked, where can you quickly find values? Well, how about as quickly as just simply scanning it? And then once you scan the card with your phone and the app, it takes you into the, recent sales history, and it takes you to the currently available for sale, and it has all the charts and stuff. And again, this is literally looking at the app through my phone here. And then, all the ones that sold, all the ones that are for sale, the charts of whatever you want to look at are all available by scanning the card. So if you go to a card show, this is unbelievable. You're looking at a card, you just quickly scan it in the Market Movers app, and it'll pull open all of the recent comps. And it usually can pick up what the grade is. So if you're scanning an 8, it'll usually default to the 8. If it's a PSA holder, it'll usually default to a PSA 8. You'll see here in a second, I'm going to scan another card, an actual card instead of a picture of a card from my computer. But we're still looking through some of the things that you can access through the app of that Ricky Henderson that I scanned off the computer. So if you're looking on eBay and you're saying, I'm thinking about buying this card, I wonder what it's worth, what are the comps? Well, you just scan it with the Market Movers app, and you can look at the sales history in like 2 seconds. You can see what the value of the card has been historically, like instantly. You can see whatever other ones are for sale, if there are others for sale of that card in that grade and different grades. So let's go ahead and scan an actual card. So here I am. I go ahead and scan my 1956 Ted Williams in a 3.5. Again, I just kind of center it there, hit the scan button, and there it goes. And you'll see the first one there is the PSA 3.5 because it was able to recognize it was the 3.5, and I click on that, and it can show me all the information. Now, there's not a lot of information on a 3.5 because PSA doesn't give a lot of half grades, so 3.5 is not going to have a ton of data. But if I were to choose like a 2, it would give me a lot of data. Or, a 5.5 wouldn't have much data, but it has some. And then again, you can look at what is the value of the cards, what are the recent sales, and all that kind of stuff. It's an amazing app.
All right. So, really good stuff, right? The app, you can just scan something. You can go to a card show, or you can sit there. Even you saw, I just scanned the screen, the card on the screen of my computer, or the card in person, and you can just see right there. You can see the sales history, cards that are for sale right now. It's really, really easy to access the population report. It's a really, really good app. And you can also put all of your cards from your collection in there, and you can chart it. You can chart the value of your collection. You can see whether it's going up and down. There are so many good things. And so you say, is this a commercial? That's what I would be thinking. Is this a commercial, Greg? No, it's not a commercial. Market Movers is the app I've been using, literally. But I do think if there are 3,500 of us, or what my subscription count, I think right now is about 3,800 of us. If there are 3,800 of us, and I can go to them and say, can you do something for all of us? If I'm telling these people that Market Movers is great, can you hook them up better than a free 1-week trial? And they said yes. They said, yes, we can. This is what we're going to do. So Market Movers literally responded. And by the way, they responded quickly, which tells me that their, customer service department is really good and really quick. They said, here's what we'll do. We'll give you a promo code. The promo code is MidLife. And what we'll do for anybody with your promo code, we will give them a 2-week trial. And I'm like, a 2-week trial? A 2-week trial? You get a 1-week trial just for showing up. And they said, but we'll also do 20% off of any level of the Market Movers app. And I think they have 3 levels. I actually have the top level because it has like awesome comparison trends, and you can add as many cards as you want to your collection portion, which you saw. I haven't done that yet, but I'm going to. We'll give you 20% off. And I'm like, but how long will they get 20% off? And they said, indefinitely, for life. As long as they have market movers, we'll give them 20% off. So it's a 2-week trial. You can try it, nothing to lose, right? You say, oh, this is pretty good. Then you keep it. And you get 20% off indefinitely. And I'm like, how do I get a piece of that? How do I get 20% off? Because when I went to them, I didn't have a 20% off coupon. I just showed up and said, I want to start using the app. So 20% off. And they said, we'll give you a little commission if anybody signs up from your site. So, I mean, that's what they said. So you get 20% off. They give me a little commission, which great. Hey, a way to support my channel and support me is to sign up for Market Movers. So, but 2 weeks free, 20% off long-term. And I'm telling you right now, see, the reason I didn't want to partner with anyone for anything for a long, long, long time, and I had a handful of companies that approached me about doing a partnership deal. And I told them no. I mean, companies you have heard of reached out to me over the past year and they said, Greg, we want to partner with you. And I said, no. I said, I'm not partnering with anyone for at least a year because it is more important to me that my midlife card community trusts me. That is way more important than getting any sort of little kickback. Like a few bucks is not worth getting between the community that I am building a relationship with and actually making them go, this guy's just a giant commercial. I am not a giant commercial. And Market Movers did not reach out to me. I reached out to them. And Market Movers did not come and do a sponsorship deal and then I started using it. No. I looked at all of the options out there. I researched all the options and I said, Market Movers is the best one. I'm going with Market Movers. And then when this question came in, I think it was posted like Monday or Tuesday of last week. No. It would have been Wednesday of last week. Wednesday or Thursday of last week, I said, let me see if they'll do something better than their 1 week free trial. And they said yes. So promo code is Midlife. I have all the information in the description of the video down below. Right here is a kind of a little ad with the information, but basically Market Movers, use my promo code Midlife. Information down below, you'll get 20% off. You say, I'm not using Market Movers. I don't like Market Movers. That's fine. That's fine. The question came to me of what is the app that I would recommend? What app do I use? What do you suggest for looking cards up and charting my collection? And the one I've been using is Market Movers. So then I reached out to them and said, can you hook us up? And they said, yeah, we'll hook you up. So there you have it. So if you like Card Ladder, stay with Card Ladder. If you want to try this for 14 days for free, check it out. And if you still like Card Ladder more, stay with Card Ladder. If you like Alt and Alt does what you want it to do, then stay with Alt. But I think Card Ladder is inferior to Market Movers. I think Market Movers is a very, very high level app and program and website that spending this amount of money is nothing for how much I'm into data, how much I'm into collecting, and how much of this is in my life. It's just like, it's peanuts. So that's my answer. I showed you part of the reason why. It's a very great app and website. And check it out. If you don't want to, that's cool too. Let's take a look at our second question. What are your thoughts on getting the autograph on a card graded with a numeric value? Do you think it matters in value or the collectability of the card? Say you have the opportunity to get an autograph of a player you've always wanted, but the card is graded. Do you crack it to have it signed or fork out the money for another one that's in the same condition? This is such a good question. I've literally faced this exact situation, and I've thought about these exact situations. So let me first look at the first question. Now, first off, 3G Slabs, he's got a great channel. Check his channel out. He does a lot of PSA reveals and stuff. Super nice guy. Check out his channel if you haven't. But first thing I'll say is this. He asks about a card with the graded numeric grade for the autograph. So let me show you what I mean. So this was a big card for me. It's a spoiler alert. This was a big card I bought this month. And I'll talk about it with my upcoming video where I always talk about my pickups over the month. But an Ozzie Smith rookie autograph. It's impossible to find this card centered. This one's pretty well centered. And it's a 7, which it's hard to find it in a 7. And then it's an auto grade of 10. You see how it has the numeric grade for the autograph. Now, that's the question. The question is do you just get it authenticated or do you get the autograph graded? Well, I think this is a pretty easy question, and here's why. So I think you get the autograph numerically graded. The reason you do that is because there's supply and demand, right? Whenever you're looking at a card, it's all about the supply and demand of the card. Now, if the card is permanently in your collection, I don't even know if you need it to be authenticated, which we'll take a look at here in just a second with the second answer to this question that I'm going to go through. But when we look at the numeric grade, the reason that's important is because a lot of people are really into the PSA set registry. And in order for a card to be included in the PSA set registry, the auto grade needs to be numeric and the card needs to be numeric. So you can't have one as authentic and the other, it has to have both. So this Ozzie Smith, one of the reasons that this is important is if I just had the autograph authenticated, which it's a really cool autograph, by the way, it got a 10, you can see it there. One of the reasons that that's important is because, yeah, it needs to get the auto grade. And the auto grade allows it to be in the set registry. And the set registry is important because more people are interested in cards for the set registry, which makes it higher demand, which makes it worth more money. So if you're never going to sell it, who cares about any of that, right? I don't even need something authenticated if I know it's real. But if you're going to sell a card at some point, or you might sell a card at some point, I think get the numeric grade for the card and for the autograph, because then it adds to the demand for the card because it's set registry eligible. To the second question, again, I felt like there was a lot of overlap here, so I'm combining them. What would I do if there's an autograph I've always wanted? Do I crack the card out of the slab? So let me first start in saying that in 1987, when I started collecting cards, the grail card was the Jose Canseco rated rookie card. It was selling for like $100. And this is in, 1988 when $100 was a lot of money. Well, a few years ago, I got my Jose Canseco rated rookie and I got it in a 9. I got a really nice one. I think it's a really nice 9. Now, do I like Jose Canseco? Jose Canseco is kind of a goof. It's just the card that I chased. I mean, that was the card everyone wanted. So I have to have that card. And we'll talk more about this later with another question that's coming up. But yeah, I had to have a Jose Canseco rated rookie in my collection. And I wanted a pretty nice one, so I bought a 9. So a local card show had a Jose Canseco signing. And of course I was going to go face to face with Jose Canseco. Now I did have a camera malfunction when I did it, so I didn't actually get to record the exchange that I had with Jose. But I did get his autograph. And the question I had to myself was, well, I obviously want Jose's, rated rookie card autographed. That's the card to get autographed. But you'll see again, I didn't get it autographed because I didn't want to crack it out. I like this one. I just assume keep it in a 9. So what I did is, because for me, when you find a card and you get it autographed, if if it's about the autograph, it doesn't really matter what it's on. It's about the autograph. It's about meeting the person, going face to face with the person and getting it autographed. So I just found a decent copy, just a decent copy of the Canseco rated rookie, and that is the one I had signed. So I guess my response is, whenever I give a response, just like I did with the Market Movers response a second ago, is what do you think about this? Well, my response is always going to be what I did, because I can't give you advice that I would crack it and get it signed and then not do that myself. I left mine in the holder, and I found another copy, and that's the one that I got signed. So that's what I would recommend. Now, if you're talking about a card that you think that it has a lot of upside, it's more of like an investment aspect to it, then I would probably get the nicer copy signed. I saw some people at this year's National in videos that I watched. And I did a video kind of as, my response to what I saw from the National. And one of my big takeaways from the National is I think vintage cards being signed by vintage Hall of Famers seem to really be growing in popularity and really be growing in value. But one of the things I saw some people do is they cracked slabs of some cards. One in particular was of a Kareem Abdul-Jabbar rookie, a Lou Alcindor card. And they cracked it to have Lou Alcindor, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, sign it. And then when they submitted it for the auto grade, they included in there, they put the flip from the grade that it had. I believe the one that I saw, it was a 7 that was submitted for grade of the card and grade of the auto, just like the Ozzie Smith, the dual numeric grade. And to be like, hey, this card before got a 7. Here's the flip to show it. Here's the tag to show that it got a 7. They included that in the submission. Now, would that help or not? I don't know. I think they did on-site grading with PSA, so you could actually talk to them, which would make it better. But if it's an investment grade card, I might crack it and get it on the nicer copy. If it's just a card because you wanted to get the autograph, even though it's not an investment, it's just a, to have sort of thing, then I would probably just get a different copy. That's my take, because that's what I did. Great questions. Great questions.
I consider myself a vintage guy. That said, I get pretty nostalgic for guys I grew up watching. So I go through phases buying a lot of cards from those eras and have a few guys from that era that I PC. Do you have any other player eras that you collect?
Yeah, of course I collect other eras. I think it is so natural with card collecting because it makes us kind of feel like a kid in a certain way when we're looking at cards because it brings back so much nostalgia. So yeah, like you mentioned, I think it is so normal that we all want to relive that. So we're kind of drawn to cards from our childhood, from the era that we collected. I'm no different. Now, obviously, the majority of my collection is vintage stuff because that's kind of what I'm drawn towards. I'm drawn towards it because of the stability of it, the history of it, the curiosity of how the card got from the pack it was opened in years and years ago to my hands. So much of that is really an awesome thing to experience and to think about. But of course, I like cards from my childhood as well. So I thought I'd show a few, right? So I have a few I'm going to show you. Now, I just showed you the Canseco, right? Because that was like the grail card to, 9-year-old, 8-year-old Greg back in 87, 88. And I recently showed you that I bought my Grail Garbage Pail Kid, right? The Atom Bomb, the Garbage Pail Kid, in my opinion. And I've shown off part of my childhood was WWF, WWE, just like a lot of us. So I have my Hulk Hogan. It's not his rookie card, but it's, his mainstream Topps rookie card. I've got my Hulk Hogan there. And then, I've talked about my affinity for Tony Gwynn. So I have a Tony Gwynn rookie card. I've got my Mark McGuire Olympic card. That was a Grail card for a while. I mean, the Tony Gwynn was a Grail card as a kid for a while. There was a time this card got to be well over $100 when I was a kid collecting. Now, my guy was Roger Clemens, so I've got my Clemens. Now, all of my childhood Clemens cards I've left ungraded. They're all raw the way I had them because I don't want PSA or SGC to grade them harshly and crush my tears that they're all, crush me to tears like they're all, the PSA 10s or SGC 10s like I'd like to think that they are. So I picked this one up recently at a show, I think for $10 because that was such a tough card with those black borders, the 85 Donruss. And, I always was into cards from other sports too. So, the card when I was a little kid in 88, 89 was the Bo Jackson rookie card. So I bought that at a show a while ago. And I remember I spent more on this card than it's worth now, but at the time it was a fairly fair price. But whatever, this is a card that I had to have in my collection. And then, CC Sabathia. I actually saw CC Sabathia pitch when I was in high school. He went to Vallejo High School, which is maybe 35 minutes from where I grew up in Vacaville. And they were in the same league as my high school, the MEL. And so I had several friends on the baseball team. I actually played golf in high school. I played baseball growing up, played everything growing up. And then in high school, during the spring season, which is when baseball is, I was on the high school golf team. And so I went out the day that CC Sabathia and Vallejo was pitching against, Vacaville High School and watched him throw a little bit, and he threw absolute smoke. And the thing I remember most about that day was all of the scouts behind the backstop with their radar guns, and I remember looking over and he was throwing in the low 90s that day. And then, of course, got to have my Derek Jeter rookie. Now, this has gotten to become a pretty expensive card. He's obviously very popular, but all of those guys from my childhood all the way up through my college years, those were some of the cards that I really wanted. So of course I had to pick those up. And there's so many more that I want. I want, Kirby Puckett rookies that I don't have, and I want more Cal Ripkens, and I have some of that sort of stuff. I have some Cal Ripkens, I have some Pucketts, I have a variety of players that were kind of the guys in the late 80s. So yes, absolutely, I collect more than that. Now, and I do collect some modern guys. I've mentioned before that I collect, Matt Manning, because he's a former student of mine. He went to the high school that I teach at, and he was a student in 2 of my classes his senior year. So I do collect modern stuff of Matt Manning. And then in watching Matt, I started seeing Casey Mize. And so Casey Mize is another really good pitcher for the Tigers, and he had Tommy John surgery, so his cards have absolutely crashed. He was the number 1 overall pick like 5 years ago or something, and now his cards are worth very little because he had Tommy John surgery. But when I talked to Matt Manning, he's just like, no, Casey Mize is legit. Like, that guy is focused, determined. He's really good. He'll be back. So, rooting for the pitching for the Tigers, I found myself rooting for Casey Mize. So I have some Casey Mize stuff, some of his auto rookie cards I've picked up. So, yeah, I don't spend big money on this stuff. Most of these are like, $20 cards, and this one's a little bit more. This is his refractor first Bowman auto at a $4.99 card. So I do collect some modern stuff, and I've talked about that I collect some modern stuff, but the majority of my collection is vintage stuff. But cards from my childhood, for sure. Do I buy some modern stuff? Absolutely. I think it's natural to do that, but the overwhelming majority of my cards are, really from a little bit of pre-war into that golden age of baseball in the 50s and 60s.
Is cleaning cards ethical? I don't mean wiping cards with a cloth, but the cleaning done by certain companies that involves physical altering of the condition.
I found that this is a very polarizing topic. There are a lot of opinions on this one, and the opinions, they vary widely. I did a video on this on because there are different companies that advertise cleaning kits and different ways to clean cards and cleaning solutions, and there are several out there, and I know a lot of us have heard about this stuff. Now, I had never, out of all of my year of videos that I had put out there, I had never heard such polarization from everybody in the responses that I read. There are people that are like, absolutely not. Any sort of altering of the card, anything done to the card is completely out of bounds and not okay. And then there are people who are like, if you don't think it's okay to clean the card, then you're an idiot. And I'm just like, whoa. I mean, it was polarizing. So I'll basically say what I said there. And in fact, I'll put up here on the screen the video in which I tackle that topic. And if you're interested in watching the video, I thought it was pretty interesting as I kind of go through it. But my personal opinion, this is just Greg's opinion, and that's what this is. This Wednesday Q&A is just Greg's opinion. I think anytime you, and the word you use, the key word there is alter a card, I think it's not really cool. Now, taking like a little, I don't know, t-shirt or microfiber cloth and just lightly rubbing it over the card, and if there's a little bit of wax on the card, the wax coming off, but you're not damaging the card, just the wax that was artificially put on there by the pack lightly come off. To me, that is as far as I think is acceptable. And some people would even say that's not acceptable. But putting any sort of foreign substance on a card, any sort of cleaning solution on a card, for me, is not something that I'm comfortable with, and that's not something that I would endorse. There's even debate from people about soaking cards. Because remember, a lot of cards used to be kept in albums, and they would be pasted into albums or glued into albums, and people will soak entire albums, and then the cards, when you soak them, they kind of come off of the album, and then you don't get all the paper loss. And some people look at that as, preserving the card so that you're not losing the paper by ripping it off. Honestly, that whole thing of soaking cards makes me a little bit uncomfortable. I honestly have never considered doing it. I've never looked into doing it. I've never watched anyone do it, but I have talked to people who have done it. And it seems like a lot of the pre-war community, collector community, that is seen as acceptable by a lot of them because that's the way to get cards out of albums and kind of save them. Honestly, with that, I don't think I've formed an opinion on it. I haven't really formed an opinion on whether it's okay to soak cards. I haven't really seen it done, witnessed it, and know much about it. But I will say, for me, foreign substance going onto a card to try to improve the card, to then try to sell the card to somebody to make more money because the card has been fixed or cleaned, that's like a stomach ache for me. That's not something that I would endorse. To me, the line in the sand that I'm willing to say I think I'm okay with, and just it seems like it's always been kind of accepted in the community as long as I can possibly remember, is a little bit of pack wax, taking like a cotton t-shirt like the one I have on, or a microfiber cloth, and very lightly rubbing it to get the wax off is like the most that I feel is okay, and for sure okay, and sort of widely accepted. Anything really beyond that, to me, is I'm uncomfortable with the thought of. So buying a kit with cleaning solution is not something that I personally will never take part in. But I know some people do. I know some people are okay with it. I know some people are not okay with it. Personally, it's not something that I would participate in. And I'll leave that for others.
Do you think having a rookie card with an autograph on it takes away from the card? I know it sounds crazy, but the eye appeal and the beauty of the card itself now has a name written all over it.
Oh, yes. A great question. An absolutely great question. And I know a lot of us have thought about this. You know, a card can be beautiful. We have this card, this image of this card that we want, and now someone's going to take a pen or, a Sharpie and write on it. Oh my gosh, why would we do that? The card was beautiful, and now it has a name on it. So I don't think it sounds crazy to say, do we want to do that? Or ask, do we want to do that? Here's my response. A rookie card that we admire and like and want is a beautiful thing. It is. And the thought of writing on it, I could see making our head want to explode. But that beautiful rookie card with that person's autograph on it is also a beautiful thing. See, the rareness of having it autographed, the fact that you maybe even got to witness it, or that person touched that card and wrote on that card themselves, is also beautiful. See, the way I see it is this is not an either or. It is not either it's beautiful unsigned or beautiful signed. It's beautiful unsigned and it's beautiful signed. Both are beautiful. So I don't think you can say that it always ruins it or it always doesn't. I could see somebody saying, no, I'm not getting that card signed. That card is beautiful. I don't want to touch it. And I could see somebody saying, the only thing that would make this more beautiful is to see it signed by that player. See, I live in Northern California, and we live a couple of hours away from Monterey. And Monterey is some of the most beautiful coastline in the world. Like Pebble Beach, for example, is gorgeous. I've been to Pebble Beach and seen a couple of US Opens there. I've seen some other golf tournaments there, and I even got the chance to play at Pebble Beach as well. And I could see how somebody would say, I cannot believe you took this beautiful piece of land and built a golf course on it. It was beautiful, pristine nature. And now there's a golf course on it. I could see why someone would feel that way. But having been to Pebble Beach, having played Pebble Beach, having walked on Pebble Beach, I can also say that it is gorgeous. It is gorgeous having the golf course on it. The golf course adds beauty to it. We took this raw, beautiful piece of property that is unbelievable to sit there and see. And we put a beautiful golf course on it. See, I think before they built Pebble Beach, that was beautiful coastline. And I think Pebble Beach and the golf course being there, it is a beautiful spot as well. I don't think, for me, that it wasn't beautiful before the golf course. And I wouldn't say that it's only beautiful because of the golf course. Both are beautiful in their own way. And that to me is the way I look at autographed rookie cards. It's beautiful without the autograph, and it's beautiful with it. It's just a different type of beautiful. That's my take. These were some outstanding questions, and hey, I am really excited to see what you have for next week. So again, if you have a question, please don't hesitate down below in the comments. Simply type in your question. If you're interested in market movers, cool. Again, the promo code is MidLife, and you'll get 20% off for life after your 14 free days of a trial. And if you don't want to use an app, if you don't want to pay any money, if you want to use what you're using, that's cool too. But I thought it was worth me reaching out to market movers to see what they could do. And to me, they came through with a pretty darn good deal. So post those questions down below. Post your comments and reactions to my opinions down below. I always look forward to hearing what you all have to say about my opinions and what questions you have for me for next week.